Tabi Cancam flexed biceps fire. Ist besten Sona X6s, Boslixus, Tech Parka Halland Berlesmus Final Metten, YouTube voiceover Isen %100 Hazard backhand index pointing down. For years, the connection between Sara Bluma and Can Yaman has been a mystery that fans, journalists, and even close industry insiders couldn't fully understand. It started quietly, a few glances, a few collaborations, a few moments that seemed harmless, but those who know how to read between the lines could sense that something deeper was happening. And now, for the first time, the hidden secrets between them are finally being exposed. It all began during the filming of a high-profile international event in Milan. Sara Bluma, the Italian model and influencer known for her magnetic presence, met Can Yaman at a gala organized by one of Italy's top fashion houses. The chemistry was instant, not loud or obvious, but intense enough to make people around them notice. They laughed, they whispered, they seemed to understand each other with just a look. And from that night forward, rumors started swirling. At first, both stayed silent. Ken was focused on his projects, his upcoming TV series and his growing influence in Italy. Sara, on the other hand, had recently come out of a complicated relationship and was trying to rebuild her public image. But something about their connection felt different. When fans noticed that Sara started following Ken on social media, and that he quietly liked a few of her older posts, the internet went wild. Maybe it's just friendship, some fans said. Others weren't so sure. The energy between them was undeniable. And then came the first photo, taken at a private dinner in Rome. It wasn't an official event, but a casual gathering of friends, yet somehow, someone managed to capture the moment. Ken was looking at Sara with an expression no one had ever seen before, soft, curious, and almost protective. From that moment, the speculation turned into obsession. Italian gossip magazines started digging. Turkish media picked up the story. Everyone wanted to know, what's really happening between Sara and Can? Behind the scenes, things were even more complicated. According to sources close to both of them, their bond went far beyond what the public saw. They shared late-night conversations, secret meetings in places where cameras couldn't reach, and long walks through quiet Roman streets. They talked about everything, one insider revealed. About fame, about loneliness, about what it's like to be misunderstood. It wasn't just attraction, it was two people finding peace in each other. But every secret comes with a cost. As the whispers grew louder, Can's team reportedly advised him to distance himself before it turns into another scandal. Sara, too, faced enormous pressure. Her management feared that being linked to Can could damage her brand deals. Yet, neither of them seemed ready to let go. She made him laugh, a close friend of Can's confessed. And after everything he's been through, that meant more to him than anyone could imagine. What no one knew back then was that the connection between them hid something much bigger, a truth that could change how fans see both of them forever. After that night in Rome, there was no turning back. What started as a harmless friendship soon became something that neither Sara nor Can could control. They tried to keep their distance, to act as if nothing had changed, but every time they crossed paths, at events, at studio meetings, or even by coincidence, the tension between them was impossible to hide. A few weeks later, Can was seen leaving a quiet restaurant near Trastevere, one of Rome's most romantic neighborhoods. Moments later, Sara was spotted exiting through the back door of the same building, wearing a long beige coat and oversized sunglasses. The photos surfaced online within hours. Social media exploded. Fans began connecting the dots, the same place, the same night, the same subtle patterns. "They're together," wrote one gossip page. "And they're hiding it." But there was more to the story than the world knew. According to an anonymous source from Can's inner circle, the two had started seeing each other in secret months earlier, away from the spotlight, away from the pressure. They were meeting late at night, sometimes at his house, sometimes at a small countryside villa owned by one of Can's old friends, the insider revealed. They wanted peace, but peace doesn't exist when you're famous. Sara's friends reportedly warned her. "He's under too much scrutiny," one told her. "This could destroy both of you." But Sara didn't care. "He's not what people think," she said during a private conversation that later leaked to the press. "Behind all the cameras and fame, he's just human. And I trust that part of him." Meanwhile, Can was facing his own turmoil. After years of being linked to co-stars and international actresses, he had built a reputation as someone untouchable, charming, confident, and always in control. But Sara changed that. She saw through the walls, through the performance. And that terrified him. "She understands him," one of Can's colleagues confessed. "In a way that no one else does." Still, keeping their connection hidden became harder every day. The paparazzi grew more aggressive, following Can everywhere. One night, they even tried to break into the gated entrance of his residence. "They want a picture, a confession, something they can twist," he reportedly told a friend. "But this isn't just a story to me." The pressure mounted when Sara suddenly stopped appearing at public events. Rumors spread that she was avoiding the spotlight because of Can. Then, a mysterious post appeared on her Instagram, a photo of the sea with the caption, "Some truths are too fragile for the world." Fans flooded the comments, tagging Can repeatedly. Within minutes, the photo had gone viral. Behind closed doors, the two faced a painful choice. The situation was spiraling. Brand contracts were on the line, agents were demanding answers, and even their families were asking questions. They were falling for each other, but it was becoming dangerous, an insider said. They both knew that one wrong move could end everything they'd built. But fate had other plans. Because just when they thought they could keep it hidden, something happened that neither of them could control, a single moment that would change everything and expose the truth they had tried so hard to protect. The turning point came on a night no one expected. It was supposed to be a quiet charity gala in Florence, a formal evening organized to raise funds for children's education, attended by Italy's biggest names in television and film. Can Yaman was one of the honorary guests, calm and collected as always, wearing his signature black suit and quiet confidence. No one suspected that within a few hours, his entire world would explode. Sara arrived later that night, radiant and graceful, in a long white gown that drew every eye in the room. She wasn't scheduled to appear, but something, or someone, had made her change her plans. The moment she entered, Can's expression shifted. It was subtle but unmistakable, a mix of surprise, longing, and fear. They didn't speak at first. The cameras were everywhere, and both knew that even a glance could start a fire. But fate didn't wait long. During a private intermission, several celebrities gathered in a smaller lounge. Away from the main hall, things were more relaxed, laughter, soft music, clinking glasses. And then, without realizing a nearby guest was recording, Can and Sara finally spoke. The recording was short, barely 15 seconds, but it was enough. "You shouldn't have come," Can said quietly. Sara smiled sadly. "I had to. I needed to see you, at least once more." That one line changed everything. Within 24 hours, the clip was everywhere: Italian television, online tabloids, Turkish entertainment sites. Headlines screamed betrayal, romance, and scandal. The secret meeting that exposed Can Yaman's hidden love. Fans were in disbelief. The audio was unmistakable, and even though both remained silent, the world had already made up its mind. Can's management went into crisis mode. They issued statements calling the clip taken out of context and a complete invasion of privacy. But it was too late. Every outlet was analyzing their body language, their tone, every photo from that night. "You can hear it," one journalist said on live TV. "That's not acting. That's emotion." Sara, overwhelmed, disappeared from the public eye. Her close friends said she was devastated, not because the world knew, but because she felt responsible for the chaos. She had wanted to protect him, not expose him. She cried for days, one of them revealed. She kept saying, "Now he'll hate me." Meanwhile, Can isolated himself completely. He turned off his phone, cancelled interviews, and even skipped a major television appearance. For a man who had always thrived under the spotlight, his sudden withdrawal said more than any statement could. "He looked heartbroken," said a producer who tried to reach him. "Like he'd lost something he didn't know how to get back." The world, however, didn't slow down. Theories grew wild. Some claimed Sara had leaked the recording, others blamed jealous insiders trying to sabotage Can's career. But the truth was more personal, more tragic. It was simply an accident. The guest who had recorded the clip hadn't realized what he'd captured until it was too late. And once it hit the internet, there was no stopping it. In one night, everything they had tried to keep private, every secret glance, every silent promise, was exposed to millions. The fairy tale had turned into a nightmare, and there was no way to undo it. Still, behind the chaos, there was one undeniable truth: love like that doesn't vanish just because the world sees it. The days after the scandal felt like a storm that wouldn't end. Every news outlet had a new version of the story. Every photo, every old video of Can and Sara together was re-examined as if the world was trying to find the exact moment when everything began. For the first time, both of them vanished from the public eye completely. No posts, no appearances, no statements. Just silence. But silence can be louder than words. Those close to Can say he was a different person after that week. Gone was the confident actor who smiled at cameras and joked with reporters. In his place stood a man who looked like he was carrying the weight of a secret he could no longer protect. He stopped answering calls, one of his colleagues revealed. He didn't want to talk to anyone. He just said, "It's better this way." Sara, meanwhile, retreated to her family home on the coast. Her friends described her as broken but calm. She knew what had happened couldn't be undone. The look on Can's face the last time they spoke haunted her, that mix of love and disappointment that cuts deeper than anger ever could. "He didn't yell," she later told a friend. "He just looked at me, like everything was over." The Italian press, ruthless as ever, kept digging. Some tabloids claimed Sara had planned everything for attention. Others accused Can of being manipulative, using her for headlines. But those who knew the truth, the real, quiet truth, knew it wasn't about fame. It was about two people who had found each other in the wrong place at the wrong time. A few weeks later, fans noticed something subtle but heartbreaking. Can deleted several photos from his Instagram, not of Sara, but of certain events and places where they had been seen together. It was as if he was trying to erase traces of her without erasing her completely. In one of his stories, he wrote a cryptic message. Sometimes love needs silence more than words. The post disappeared within 24 hours, but the message stayed in everyone's mind. Sara remained silent for nearly a month. Then, one evening, she posted a single photo, the sea at sunset, with the caption, "I hope you heal." No tags, no context. But everyone knew who it was for. The post went viral instantly. Fans flooded the comments with heartbreak emojis and messages of support. "True love never hides forever," one wrote. Another said, "Maybe one day they'll meet again when the world isn't watching." Behind the scenes, however, Can was struggling. Those close to him say he began spending hours training, trying to exhaust himself physically just to stop thinking. He wanted control again, said a fitness coach who worked with him. But no matter how hard he worked, his eyes told another story. Months passed. Offers for interviews poured in, both were asked to clear the air, but they refused every one of them. The mystery only grew, but neither of them wanted to feed it anymore. In truth, what they lost wasn't just privacy or reputation, it was peace. A simple peace that had existed only in stolen moments. And once the world took that away, neither of them could find their way back to it. Weeks turned into months, and the noise around them began to fade, but the silence left behind was even heavier. Can Yaman had returned to work, at least on the surface. He smiled for cameras again, greeted fans politely, and continued his projects as if nothing had happened. But anyone who looked closely could see it, something in him had changed. The fire was still there, but dimmer, quieter. It wasn't the calm of peace, it was the calm that comes after losing something you can't replace. Sara, on the other hand, stayed out of the public eye almost entirely. Her once busy social media turned into a ghost town. Every photo, every caption she shared felt nostalgic: sunsets, empty beaches, books, and words about time and forgiveness. It was clear she wasn't moving on, not really. She was surviving, quietly, with dignity. One evening, months after the scandal, something unexpected happened. A handwritten letter arrived at Can's apartment in Rome. No return address, just his name, simple, familiar handwriting that he recognized instantly. For a long time, he didn't open it. He kept it on his desk, glancing at it every day, torn between fear and longing. Finally, one night, he did. The letter was short, only a page. But the words were enough to open every wound that time had only covered, not healed. Can, I don't know if you'll ever read this, but I needed to say it. I never wanted the world to find out, not like that. I wanted us to have something that belonged only to us, something untouched by noise or judgment. I wanted to keep it safe. But love isn't safe, is it? It finds you, it exposes you, it tests everything you thought you knew about yourself. You once told me that truth hurts, but silence kills. Maybe this is my truth. I miss who we were when no one was watching. ****. If I could go back, I wouldn't change what we felt. I'd only change the world that refused to understand it. ***. Take care of your peace, even if it means forgetting me. ***s. Can read it over and over until the ink blurred. There was no anger left, only acceptance. He folded the letter carefully, placed it in a drawer, and sat by the window watching the city lights. Somewhere between the hum of traffic and the faint sound of rain, he whispered, "I never could forget you." In the weeks that followed, Can began to change his approach to life. He stopped trying to prove himself, stopped fighting the rumors. Instead, he started focusing on authenticity, not the image people expected, but the person he had become through everything. He began writing again, journaling at night, and even producing a small charity project in Sara's name, anonymously. As for Sara, those close to her say she found peace in a quiet coastal town. She started painting again, channeling her emotions into colors and textures that spoke where words couldn't. Her last public statement, months later, was simple but powerful. She posted a painting of two silhouettes walking in opposite directions beneath a stormy sky, with the caption, ***, not all storms destroy. Some teach us how to rebuild. The world eventually moved on, as it always does. New scandals replaced the old, new names filled the headlines. But for those who remembered, the story of Sara and Can remained something different, not just a scandal, not just a forbidden romance, but a lesson about the price of honesty and the fragility of love under the spotlight. Years later, in an interview, when asked about the one story he never spoke about, Can paused. The interviewer tried to change the subject, but he stopped them. Smiling faintly, he said, "There was someone once. She taught me that love isn't about possession, it's about truth. Even if that truth hurts." He didn't mention her name. He didn't need to. Because everyone knew. And somewhere, maybe watching from afar, Sara smiled too, not out of regret, but gratitude. Because even if their story didn't have a happy ending, it was real. It was honest. And in a world built on illusions, that's the rarest kind of love there is.